dear students. Welcome back to Plus 2 Biology. Let us continue the topic cloning vectors. We have discussed what are cloning vectors and what are the properties of cloning vectors. A cloning vector must fulfill certain criteria. We were discussing about that, and as first part we have discussed a cloning vector must carry oocyte and also it must carry cloning sites. And in the last class we have also just mentioned a cloning vector must possess selectable markers. Today we are going to elaborate that topic. What are selectable markers in a cloning vector? So we discussed that topic with the help of the same example PBr322. So you know PBr322 is a ready-made, man-made plasmid. And here you can see the two important regions, ampicillin resistance region. This sequence provides ampicillin resistance to this particular plasmid. I mean, the region of the plasmid from here to here is responsible for providing ampicillin resistance. Similarly, the region of the plasmid from here to here, it is providing tetracycline resistance. Listen carefully here. These two regions are used as selectable markers in PBr322. Okay. So, you must know what are selectable markers. Okay. It's a very important topic. So, the selectable markers in PBr322 are ampicillin resistance region and tetracycline resistance region. Okay. If so, what are the significances of this region? What are selectable markers meant for? So the purpose of a selectable marker is it helps us to select the recombinants from non-recombinants. Okay, all this works what we carry out using genes. I mean, we are cutting genes with enzymes and we are ligating a piece of DNA with DNA ligase enzyme. All this works we can assure with the help of the selectable markers. The selectable markers are made for a particular aim so that it helps us to select the recombinants from non-recombinants and transformants from non-transformants. What is meant by that? We are going to the depth of that. Anyway, understand the selectable markers in the plasmid help us to select or identify whether the recombination is successful or not, whether our work is successful or not. So, suppose in a test tube, we have taken plasmids, we have taken certain plasmids, then we have added restriction enzymes to that. Okay? So, we have taken plasmids and we have added restriction enzymes to that. Okay? At the same time, we have prepared our piece of desired DNA fragments cut with the same restriction enzyme. And later we can introduce to the same test tube. So now we have taken plasmids in a container and we have added restriction enzymes. So our aim is to cut the plasmid with the restriction enzyme at a particular place. And later our aim is to join this piece to that plasmid to produce our DNA. Okay, suppose we have added restriction enzymes to plasmid, number of plasmids we have taken, and what we expect is all the plasmids are cut with the restriction enzyme, sometimes may not. So in the next step, suppose we have introduced our alien DNA piece. Okay, we have introduced the alien DNA piece and also we have introduced DNA ligase enzyme. Keep in mind, first we have taken plasmids in a container, then we introduce the restriction enzymes. Our aim is to cut all the plasmids with the restriction enzymes. Sometimes it may be, otherwise only certain plasmids might be cut. Then anyway, then we are adding the DNA pieces cut with the same restriction enzyme along with the DNA ligase enzyme. So what we aim, wherever the plasmids are cut, all such regions we expect the alien DNA pieces joined. Okay, we are expecting the alien DNA pieces joined here. If the alien DNA pieces are joined, it produces rDNA. Okay, rDNA, the plasmid become rDNA. Unfortunately, if some are not joined, then it produces what? Non-recombinant DNA. That means after this complete action, we can expect, in the container, we can expect two types of plasmids. Okay, some plasmids, our restriction enzyme action is successful, so it produces a cut. Okay, and also our alien DNA piece has joined here with the help of DNA ligase enzyme. If this insertion, the cutting, insertion, everything successful, we can get recombinants. This is called a recombinant. Okay, some of the plasmids, we expect, our aim is to get all the plasmids like this. Anyway, some of the plasmids we can see like this as recombinants. That means restriction and enzyme action is successful, insertion is successful, and the DNA ligase action completely successful means we get the recombinants. Whereas some we can expect in this way also. Some of the plasmids will not show this successful. No restriction enzyme action, no insertion. If there is no restriction enzyme action, no insertion possible. We can call them as non-recombinants. Okay, so we have no any method to distinguish it now. So after the action of restriction enzymes and after the insertion of foreign gene, we have the chance of getting two types of plasmids. Plasmids with recombination successful are recombinants, whereas the other types are non-recombinants. Are you okay? This is the first step. And in the second step, we are introducing all these plasmids, whether it's recombinant or non-recombinant. We have no way to separate it now. In the second step, we are introducing all these plasmids to bacteria. Whether it's this type or this type, we have no any idea. To the bacteria, we are introducing. Bacteria will be taken out like this individually. Okay, I will just show that and then I will rub it. Then we are taking the bacteria in any container, suppose the petri dish. Number of bacteria will be there grown, and we are introducing otherwise conical flask or any container. We are introducing this recombinant or non-recombinant plasmid. We have no idea to separate that. So this all plasmids we insert here by the technique. We will discuss it later how to insert the plasmid by some membrane treatment and all. Anyway, when we introduce the plasmids as a whole to a bacterial colony, we have the chance of this way. The bacteria, some bacteria will be carrying its genome, will not receive any of this. Some bacteria will not receive any recombinant plasmid or non-recombinant plasmid. Chance is there. Whereas some bacteria will receive what? Recombinant plasmid. Recombinant plasmid. Some will receive what? Recombinant plasmid. Whereas some other bacteria, few bacteria may also receive what? Non-recombinant plasmid. When we introduce the plasmids to the bacterium or the bacterial colony, there may be bacteria which do not receive any of the plasmid. No plasmids entered. Okay, this way. We can call them as non-transformant. That means this haven't undergone any change, not transformed at all. What do you mean? That means this hasn't transformed, no change. Okay, whereas these two types of bacteria are transformed ones. Both have undergone change. So these are transformants. Did you get me? Then the bacteria which will receive what? Recombinant DNA. These are among the transformants. We can say these are recombinant transformants. Okay, they got recombinant DNA, whereas these are non-recombinant type. They have got non-recombinant DNA. Okay, then listen. Then how we separate this from a colony? Very interesting topic. How can we separate this transformants, non-transformants, recombinants, non-recombinants from the colony? We need only the successful one. What? This one only we need. We have to eliminate this and this. We don't require that. For our further experience, for our further multiplication, cloning, we need only this because our gene is only here in this. Are you following me? Okay. Then how to do this? For that only we have the selectable markers. Suppose we are inserting our foreign gene here. Okay. Suppose in PBR322 we are inserting our gene here. Okay. And by cutting it with the BAMH1, at that sequence there is an enzyme BAMH1. You have already learned. So cutting here with the BAMH1, we are inserting our gene here. Then what happened to that plasmid? In the plasmid, in between the tetracycline resistance region, we have made a cut so that that plasmid will not show that property again. That means since we have cut here in the sequence of tetracycline resistance, this cannot show that property anymore. Is it okay? So this plasmid has lost tetracycline resistance. It has only ampicillin resistance. Tetracycline property, resistance property is lost because we have inserted something in that sequence. From here to here, the sequence is required for tetracycline resistance. The DNA from here to here is giving the property tetracycline resistance. But in between we have cut and joined the other piece, means it loses that property. Okay. So this plasmid will not show tetracycline resistance. That means if our recombination is successful, there is no tetracycline resistance for the plasmid. Keep in mind. So this one, if this plasmid is entering the bacterium, it shows both ampicillin resistance, both tetracycline resistance. Reason is no interaction by our foreign gene. So if the recombination is successful, recombinants will not show what? Tetracycline resistance, because that is lost. Here it shows both ampicillin resistance and tetracycline resistance, whereas this one recombinants will not show tetracycline resistance because of that. Okay, non-recombinants show both the resistance. Okay, then we can just compare the bacteria. Okay, we cannot do that. When it is entering the bacteria, only that property will be seen. Plasmid alone cannot show any property. Okay, so the first case, non-transformants, will they show ampicillin resistance? Will they show tetracycline resistance? No, because they haven't received the plasmid. Okay, so this will not show ampicillin resistance, no ampicillin resistance, no tetracycline resistance. Okay, the second case, recombinants, will they show ampicillin resistance? Recombinants, they show what? Will they show ampicillin resistance? Yes, they show ampicillin resistance but no tetracycline resistance. What is the reason? At the tetracycline resistance region is the foreign gene. Then non-recombinants, they show ampicillin resistance and tetracycline resistance because both the regions remain undisturbed because our foreign DNA hasn't joined there. Okay, so we can see the bacteria in three types. Okay, bacteria which show no resistance to ampicillin and tetracycline, bacteria which show resistance to both, bacteria which show resistance to only ampicillin but not tetracycline. whatever is the type of bacteria, our aim is what? To get only this. How is this possible? It requires double plating. Okay? Listen carefully here. This requires double plating. First step, we can select. So this I used as selectable markers. We can select transformants from non-transformants. Transformants from non-transformants. This is non-transformant. These transformants we can select from non-transformants by plating them. It's called the plating, bacterial culture plating, growth. By growing them in ampicillin medium. Okay? Grow the entire bacteria in an ampicillin containing medium. Okay? If the bacteria are not showing, which are the bacteria which are unable to grow in that medium, which do not show ampicillin resistance, are non-transformants, we can remove them. We have eliminated the first 5. Okay, so when we grow the bacteria in ampicillin containing medium, when we grow the bacteria, we can eliminate what? Non-transformants. That means the non-transformants cannot grow in that medium. So what is in our hands now? We have the transformants with us. From the transformants, what is our next duty? All bacteria are now transformants. Non-transformants we removed. Our next duty is to remove non-recombinants from recombinants. Okay, so second plating. First plating is in ampicillin medium. Second aim is to select recombinants from non-recombinants. Okay, our aim is to select recombinants from non-recombinants. For that, what we should do? We should grow the bacterium in the second plating, that is in tetracycline medium. Grow the bacteria in tetracycline medium. Very simple. Okay? Suppose these 2 bacteria we are growing in tetracycline medium. Okay? This bacteria has tetracycline resistance. It has ampicillin resistance, tetracycline resistance. This has ampicillin resistance. So we could eliminate from this. We could select it from this. Since these 2 show ampicillin resistance, we could select out of this. But among these 2, which is a property, we should depend on the next resistance. This is showing tetracycline resistance, whereas this one not. When we grow in tetracycline medium, the bacteria which are unable to grow, some bacteria feel difficulty to grow because they don't have tetracycline resistance. This will very successfully grow. Whereas in tetracycline medium, which is showing failure to grow, slowly growing bacteria, the bacteria which show no tetracycline resistance. Okay, no tetracycline resistance means that bacteria are recombinants. We can select them for our future works. Okay. Here we are eliminating which one do not show ampicillin resistance. Are you okay? In the second plating, in the tetracycline medium, which are the bacteria unable to grow in that medium, which grow very slow in the medium, are recombinants. What is the reason? They have lost that tetracycline resistance due to insertion. So they feel difficult to grow in that medium. So such bacteria we can take and separate. This way we can separate recombinants from non-recombinants and transformants from non-transformants. Okay, once again, here in the plasmid, due to our insertion, one character is inactivated. That means due to the insertion of the gene there, tetracycline resistance property is lost. So So this is a double plating method. There is another easy method for selection that we will discuss in the next class. That is by inserting a gene for enzyme action, beta galactosidase enzyme action. We will discuss that in our next class. So see you in the next class. Thank you.